What the is a Limbus company? Whether you're a new viewer or one of my friends, I've begged countless times to play this game. This video is 100% for you.
환영합니다, 관리자님. 저는 관리자님을 인도할 안내자 베르길리우스입니다.
출발할게, 부릉부릉.
지옥으로 출발하지.
Dante, you, the player, are some big shot who we don't know much about his past. Trust me, bro, you were cool in your prime. You are cornered in a dark forest by people of the name Lion, Wolf, and Panther who are glazing you talking about some.
그렇지만 우리가 살면서 언제 이런 녀석을 죽여보겠어?
So you probably did something cool. But again, we don't know what that is really, so let's get to the part where Lion gets ran over by a fucking bus. A woman named Faust exits the bus and tells you to follow your star. What is your star? That's a great question, I don't really know. But yeah, you do that and boom chains with all the other people who subsequently left the bus after Faust did. And you're now the manager of a department of the Limbus company called Limbus Company Bus. What a creative name. Anyway, now all the other people will fight Panther, Lion, and Wolf for you and...
이건 대화로 풀 수 있는...
처음부터 말이 안 되는
다들 장난해? 난 시작...
And it turns out they cannot fight for shit. But your savior and fraud named Virgilius, yeah, that gray-looking dude at the start who threw a bunch of pages on the ground like a misfit elementary schooler, slaughters Wolf and Lion and leaves Panther alive, and drops this absolute bar.
그렇게 노려보지 마. 네 놈들이 해놓은 짓에 비하면 별것도 아니잖아. 그 정도 부상이면 위에서도 충분히 할 일 했다고 생각할 거다. 훈장처럼 여기라고. 아니면 여기서 명줄을 놓고 싶은가?
Even Panther going silent after that. And soon after you revive all the other people now called sinners, because the chains that were literally ripped into you allow you to do that now. Let us get on to the second chapter. The main reason I personally play Limbus Company is for the music, the voice acting, the beautiful art style. Take a look at my personal favorite example. Be warned, this has spoilers, so skip to the timestamp on screen if you plan on playing the game.
내 이름은 키호테. 돈 키호테. 이 창으로 그 허황되고 유치한 꿈을 끝내겠다.
내 이름은 산초! 굶어썩은 나태한 꿈을 끝내겠습니다!
닿을 수 없더라도
닿을 때까지 저 달려나가겠습니다! 아니! 이 몸은 끝까지 달려나가겠어!
I am my biggest fan. I am my biggest fan. I am my enemy and my friend.
Very cool, I know. Here are some other examples of good music from Limbus Company. I wonder how many people actually skipped that. Anyway, a lot of others play Limbus Company for the game. This is why a lot of people do not like Limbus Company. Allow me to show you one turn.
필중 의지만 있다면
보이셨다면 저런 것쯤은.
Now try to trust me on this, but it's not difficult. Let's go step by step, starting with clashing. This is a clash. The goal of a clash is to have the biggest number inside this little heptagon. The base power is the number you start out with that you can currently see, 5 for my skill and 6 for theirs. Do you see the coin on the far left glowing? This is because it landed heads. Coin flips are involved in every clash, which means you have more gambling involved in the gameplay than the game's actual gacha system, which we will talk about later. Send your focus to the number above the 10. That is a skill's coin power. Coin power is added for every time a coin on a skill lands heads. You can see that only 4 was added to the original 5. Another one was added because of a conditional on the character used. The right and middle coins landed tails, which is signified by the dimmer color, rather than the radiant one to the left. If the clash power, the 10, is bigger than the enemy's clash power, then we will knock off one of their coins, and since they are using a 1-coin skill, we will win the clash immediately, as shown here. Since we have won the clash, we will activate our skill. Here's an example where I could not successfully knock their coins off in one single clash due to them having multiple coins. Since they have a coin gone due to me knocking one off, their highest clash power is now lowered. This process keeps going until one of us has 0 coins left, and again, that's when a skill activates. Now on to staggering. Look at the part where Ishmael, the sunset hair girl you see here, staggers. A stagger happens when the sinner or enemy's HP hits one of these three lines, called a stagger thresholds. A sinner can have anywhere from 1 to 3 stagger thresholds, depending on the ID the sinner uses. More on that later. Staggering makes it so the character will not act for this and the next turn, and changes all their resistances to fatal, making you take more damage, so play smart if you don't want that to happen. Here is Stagger Plus, when they reach the red stagger threshold, making them take even more damage. Stagger Plus Plus, making them take even more damage. And ultimately, the sinner's death. You're probably wondering, how do I make sure my sinners don't lose one fucking clash and die immediately? The answer to that is sanity, this blue bubble right here. This number goes up from A, winning clashes, B, killing enemies, or C, passives or support passives. But let's explain sanity first. Notice how Mursol's sanity goes up when he won the clash. Sanity can go from either 45 to negative 45. Each difference in sanity is a 1% chance of landing heads. 0 sanity is a 50% chance, 1 sanity is a 51% chance, -1 sanity is a 49% chance. So the max chance to land heads is 95%, and the lowest chance is 5%, at again 45 and -45 sanity. Now let's talk about status effects. There are 7 main ones coordinating with the 7 deadly sins, besides greed, which was changed to gloom, most likely for story reasons. Let's go over them. Burn, which coordinates with the wrath sin affinity. This is the easiest, in my opinion, status effect to use. It is easy to stack and doesn't require micromanaging. At the end of each turn, they will take damage based off the potency, and the count will be subtracted by 1. For future reference, potency is the amount of damage, and count is the amount of times it can happen before it runs out. As you can see, the enemy will take 3 damage at the end of the turn. Then the count will be subtracted by 1. Since the enemy only has 1 count, the burn status effect on the enemy will disappear. Bleed, which coordinates with the lust sin affinity, makes you take damage every time a clash happens. Damage, as per usual, is determined by potency, and then the count is subtracted by 1. This is medium to hard difficulty to maintain. Tremor is in coordination with the sloth affinity. When activating Tremor Burst, a status that every Tremor character has, it will raise the stagger threshold by the potency and subtract the count by 1. This is easy to maintain. Rupture is in coordination to Gluttony, which makes sense because every Rupture main is a fat. When you hit the enemy, they take damage equal to their Rupture potency and subtract the count by 1. This is medium difficulty to maintain. Sinking is linked to Gloom. Whenever the enemy is hit, they will take Sanity, SP for short, damage equal to the potency and subtract the count by 1. Although if you are fighting an enemy without SP, for example an abnormality, like the censored guy I jump-scared you with earlier at the start, they will take Gloom damage instead, behaving exactly like Rupture. This is medium difficulty to maintain. The next 2 status effects are not like the others, as you apply them to yourself instead of your enemies. Poise is linked to Pride, and the effect is that the chance for a critical hit is set to 5 times the potency, and whenever you hit a critical, the count is subtracted by 1. Charge is linked to Envy, and I don't think anyone really cares about Charge, but whatever. Charge buffs certain moves, typically the skill 3, by gaining more damage or clash power or other status effects. Potency is typically not used with Charge, save for a few characters. At the end of the turn, the charge count is subtracted by 1, but since you're using Charge semi-frequently, this is between easy and medium to maintain. Now, the glorious CEO of Project Moon, Kim Jae-hoon, noticed that Tremor is kinda buns against enemies with higher ape. So what he did was make something called amplitude conversion and amplitude entanglement, and a bunch of special tremor types. Amplitude conversion changes the current tremor type into the different tremor type that specific character or ego, more on that after this, inflicts. And amplitude entanglement allows all types of tremors to stack onto each other. When they're stacked, all the tremors are added to this effect called tremor superposition. Let's skim over the tremor types to not waste your time. Keep in mind, I'll only say the new effect that it gives. Just remember, all tremors still raise stagger thresholds. Tremor Decay removes 1 defense level every 4 tremor potency. Tremor Fracture adds stagger level every time the target staggers or reaches 20 tremor count. Tremor Reverb makes the target take sloth damage equal to tremor potency. Tremor Everlasting gives a tremor potency on self% chance to stagger again with a maximum chance of 50. Tremor Chain makes the target lose clash power for every 10 tremor potency they have with a maximum of 3. Tremor Distribution gives the sum of allies' tremor count divided by the number of surviving allies' offense level up next turn with a max of 5. Tremor Clockwinding gives +2 maximum speed and consumes tremor count on self to inflict 1 more tremor potency or count when inflicting them with this unit's skill or coin effects. Tremor Scorch makes them take wrath damage equal to the sum of tremor and burn potency divided by 2 and makes the enemy lose 1 burn count. And Tremor Hemorrhage works the same way but with bleed. Now on to E.G.O.s. E.G.O.s are a special type of skill in Limbus Company that are usually used for its high clash power, unique and useful effects, and attack weight or damage. E.G.O.s are graded on a scale from Zayin, Teth, He, Wa, and Aleph. But there is no Aleph E.G.O. yet, so ignore it for now. And just because there are grades does not necessarily mean that some Wa are more useful than a Zayin. Let me show you a pretty good E.G.O. for Mersal, chains of others, to let you understand how E.G.O.s work.
수많은 것들이 옥죄어 온다.
Now on paper this seems like a basic E.G.O. with its 22 clash power. However, take a look at its effects and passive. It doesn't have overall great clash power or attack weight, which I forgot to mention attack weight means how many people it will hit. But what it does have is crazy bind and attack power down on the enemy. Sure, it gives bind and attack power down on you, but since endgame teams have 7 or more sinners on field, just have someone else clash with that enemy and send an unfocused attack with Mersal so he won't lose a clash and take damage. On the unfortunate occasion that Mersal absolutely has to clash with an enemy, he also gains protection as well, so he won't suffer much consequence. His passive also gives him 3 protection if 3 or more enemies are targeting him, just to sweeten the deal. Audible sigh! I have held back for far too long now. It is time to talk about gambling. For Limbus Company's gacha system, otherwise called extraction, we have what is in my opinion the most generous gacha in all of gacha. 2.9% chance for a 3-star. Unlike other gacha games, 3 stars like Zenless with its bullshit 0.6% chance. But anyway, a fun little perk Kim Jae-hoon added to Limbus Company is called
Friend's got something to say.
What? Who said that? Was it you?
Tell him
to gamble.
SpongeBob. Assert yourself.
That's mine.
Money.
Great. Now let him
Gamble.
You can have it. Say thanks.
No!
Yeah, Limbus Company hates money. Where have you seen this exact joke before?
You can have it. Say thanks.
No!
But that's beside the point. You can already get 8 pulls per week minimum. And notice how I said minimum because they give free 10 pulls every time Kim Jae-hoon streams. And 300 or 500 lunacy, the gambling currency, just because they might have spelled something wrong or just for bug fixes in general. And that's just endgame. However, the real reason why they hate money is because you can get 3 stars for free in the dispense system from E.G.O. shards, which are obtained from Mirror Dungeons, Limbus Company's dungeon system, and they're really easy to get. Oh, and you also get E.G.O.s from gambling as well. Here's an example of me getting an E.G.O., a bunch of 2 stars and the 3-star I was aiming for in 110 pull, just as an example of how easy it is to get what you want from gambling. The brown ones are 1 stars, the orange ones are 2 stars, the yellow ones are 3 stars, and the yellow ones with an orange glow are E.G.O.s.
기록에 따라 당신은 반드시 집행하겠습니다. 전파 차단기 분량, 긴급 차폐합금, 또 분량, 라이플 압력 조절 장치. 이것도 분량입니다.
And have I even mentioned the fact that they update bi-weekly? So that's the basics of Limbus Company. Some people are probably thinking, where's the explanation of the characters? Or, where is the explanation of the main story besides the start? Well, that's not exactly for me to spoil, but for you to play. You watched the video until the end for a reason, I hope? Now hop up and go to Steam and download Limbus Company and experience Peak. And for you, my one dear friend who I've begged over a year to play Limbus Company, don't keep me waiting.